There is reward. Just allow the process happen. There is reward. Don't let, and these images you see, they are not enduring. They are not enduring. They are flash in the pan. They are going to be tested, and will they be able to withstand those tests when life comes knocking, as life is bound to come knocking? So that's why I insist that young people must undergo process. Build your competencies. The only thing is that competency must be defined by the era in which you exist in. So competency is not competency when I was in school, for instance. The world is demanding a different set of skills. So you must be aware of those new demands and new skills being demanded for, right? The industrial era, we're just seeing the last residue of it. It has gone. We are now in a hyper-personalized era of social media. It's a huge information age now, where we can build brands around ourselves, where now the podcaster is more popular than the CEO of a huge corporation. That's the world you live in. So introduce or integrate into whatever you have storytelling. Understand the power of the media. There are no gates anymore that are keeping you away from reaching the broad audiences. So understand those powers and integrate it, right? But have a product or a service. It's not about just showing yourself, and no shade to any influencer. But what are you influencing? Towards what end? What does it do for the collective? How far does it take us? And what does progress look like after you've done your influencing? These are questions we must ask.
Adebayo the Guru, Kanu the Great, Ngozi the Patriot. Why Patriot?
So if you read this story, and many people who were aware when she was Madam Minister, you will experience the personal, sacrifices that she had to make. A child wants to be responsible for bringing their parents, glory, peace of mind, enjoyment. But in the time when she stood for her principles, by reason of that, commitment to principles, her mother in her 90s was abducted by unscrupulous oil marketers, right? And they couldn't find it, and they were being threatened that if you don't step down as minister, it's not even just about reversing subsidy. They said, just go, your wahala is too much. Okonjo-Iweala was her name. That was the nickname given to her, because she was introducing certain reforms, and her goal was to make sure that Nigeria's oil wealth benefited the majority of Nigeria's population, as opposed to a minority elite, population. So she was stepping on a lot of toes and affecting industries, personal industries and industrial complexes that had been built. So I call her a patriot because I want people to re-examine and go back and revisit the meaning of patriotism. When your country needs you, and in the way that it needs you, will you be there? Patriotism will call for us in different ways, certain commitments and sacrifices. I use her example because her own call for to be a patriot was at the expense of, I will kill your mother if you don't leave this patriotic route you have taken. But her father pumped her with energy. He said, look, we're in our 90s. We've lived our lives. We want to die in our beds. But if that is not the case, don't let anybody, manipulate you, coerce you, induce you on the basis of our death. Let us die by any means necessary. Don't step down. It was on the basis of that, affirmation from her father, that she stood her ground.
She gave us excess crude account.
Thank you. One of the many reforms that Okonjo-Iweala is credited to her tenure as Madam Minister.
And the debt burden that was lifted. 18 billion.
18 billion. The digitization of payment platforms, many things.
Youth Enterprise with Innovation program. You win.
You win. Many people benefited
Rebasing of Nigeria's GDP.
Yes. That led us to suddenly be ranked co-equal with South Africa in terms of our GDP.
Two-time Minister of Finance.
Two-time Minister of Finance, coordinating Minister of the Economy. Because the economy could not be treated in silos, so put her on top of the game,
We are proud of her.
We're proud. She's a good example to put in front of our children.
From the World Bank to World Trade Organization, Director General.
Earning big money. So she didn't have to, she took that because she wanted to serve fatherland.
She married her love.
She did. She did.
The neurosurgeon.
And they met when she was in secondary school. I like to think they met in Ibadan. So her secondary school started here and then ended in Queen's School, Enugu. So many times he was also here in Ibadan. So my thing.
She went to the College of Medicine here.
No. Her husband.
Her husband went to the College of Medicine.
So I don't know if he studied here.
Okay.
I don't know his own story in depth to be able to say that confidently. But he also has strong ties. I don't know if it was just his housemanship.
Okay.
A lot of them would come for housemanship in UCH
Yeah.
or his residency. But he also has, contact with Ibadan in his education.
And she was able to manage family and work.
And family is so integral to them in this story. In fact, one of the reasons why she resisted accepting the call to serve when former President Obasanjo first invited her was that her last son was still in high school. So it would mean that she won't be there while this boy, is still completing. High school is secondary school. And so she asked, it was a family decision to tell you how, as a family, they were integrated and, major decisions of that nature, father, mother, children would put heads together.
And the two women you featured in this series are family women.
Family women.
And they are
family
top professionals.
Women. Top professionals. Because at the kernel of every society is a family. So family is really powerful. Family is the nucleus. When we get it right in families at scale, societies do well.
You also speaks about getting a supporting spouse.
Very important. Very important. Without it,
because some men can be intimidated.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Even Professor Bolanle Awe's husband.
Yes, absolutely.
He
was a professor too.
Yes.
A physicist, professor of physics. Successful by his rights. But as you rightly point out, not many people will be able to stand and allow one woman to be gaining all this prominence, to be moving. It's one thing to even be gaining this prominence, but then you're stationary. It's another thing for them to be calling you, you're traveling here today, you're traveling there tomorrow. It takes a lot of accommodation. It takes a lot of partnership because two people have to make compromises. And this was a very busy medical professional, a very successful medical physician in the United States, So a physician in the United States, a physician is a busy individual. You're on call. So that means a lot of strain on the family. If two of them don't work in synergy, the family fractures.